Jeffrey Epstein was born on January 20, 1953, in Brooklyn, New York, to Seymour G. Epstein and Pauline Epstein. Not much is widely known about his parents' backgrounds or professions. However, we do know Epstein grew up in Coney Island, Brooklyn. Jeffrey Epstein had a younger brother named Mark Epstein. Mark, like Jeffrey, pursued a career in finance. While Mark has maintained a low public profile, he has been occasionally mentioned in relation to Jeffrey's business dealings, including being involved in his brother's finances at certain points. Unfortunately, information about Epstein's early childhood, his family dynamics, and personal life before his rise to prominence in the financial world is not extensively documented or publicly available. Most of the attention and information about Epstein's life came to light due to his connections in later years and the legal issues he faced in his adult life. To quickly recap: 1953, Jeffrey Epstein is born in Brooklyn, New York. 1970s to 1980s, Epstein begins his career in finance, working at Bear Stearns. 1990s, Jeffrey establishes his own financial management firm, catering to the wealthy elite. In the 1990s to 2000s, Epstein develops connections with influential figures, including politicians, business magnates, scientists, and celebrities, cultivating a social circle that spans various sectors. Jeffrey Epstein's social circle included a wide array of influential individuals from different fields. Some of the notable figures within his network were politicians, including but not limited to Bill Clinton and Donald Trump. Business leaders, including but not limited to Les Wexner and Prince Andrew. Scientists and academic models, including but not limited to Lawrence Krauss and Steven Pinker. And even celebrities such as Kevin Spacey and Woody Allen. Epstein's ability to navigate various social circles allowed him access to powerful and influential individuals across industries, leveraging these connections for personal and professional gain. However, the nature and extent of the relationships between Epstein and these individuals have varied widely, with some having more documented interactions than others. Former President Bill Clinton had a known friendship with Jeffrey Epstein. Clinton flew on Epstein's private jet several times, and Epstein had made donations to Clinton's foundation. However, Clinton has stated that he knew nothing of Epstein's criminal activities. Per newly unsealed legal documents, the validity of Clinton's previous statement has been brought into question. Additionally, it is interesting to note, Jeffrey Epstein reportedly had an oil painting of former U.S. President Bill Clinton dressed in women's clothing conspicuously displayed in his Manhattan townhouse. Everybody who saw it laughed and smirked. Donald Trump and Epstein had interactions in social settings in the past. While Donald Trump has distanced himself from Epstein following his arrest, stating that they had a falling out years before. Les Wexner, known as the billionaire behind the L Brands empire, Victoria's Secret, Bath and Body Works, was a mentor to Epstein and reportedly entrusted him with significant financial responsibilities. Prince Andrew, the Duke of York, had a well-documented friendship with Epstein, leading to considerable controversy and scrutiny, particularly following Epstein's legal troubles. Lawrence Krauss, known as a prominent theoretical physicist, was linked to Epstein and faced backlash due to his association. Steven Pinker, a Harvard psychologist, had interactions with Epstein but clarified that he did not partake in any of Epstein's illegal activities. Actor Kevin Spacey is said to have met Epstein and faced public scrutiny due to his association. Woody Allen had connections with Epstein, leading to public interest and discussions regarding their relationship. In 2005, Epstein begins to face allegations of sexual abuse of minors in Florida. He reaches a controversial plea deal, serving only 13 months in a county jail for state prostitution charges. Over a decade later, in 2019, Jeffrey Epstein was arrested in New York on federal charges of sex trafficking minors. The case drew widespread attention due to the involvement of high-profile individuals in Epstein's social circle. Epstein's infamous 2005 plea deal raised a lot of speculation and controversy amongst the court of the public. The plea deal Epstein secured in 2005 was widely criticized for its leniency. Despite facing serious allegations involving sexual abuse of minors, he received a remarkably light sentence, serving only 13 months in a county jail and being granted extensive work release privileges. There was a considerable outcry over the lack of consultation with Epstein's accusers regarding the terms of the plea deal. Many of the victims were not informed of the agreement's specifics, which violated the Crime Victims' Rights Act. Even more speculation began to arise regarding Epstein's connections and influence, suggesting that his wealth, connections to influential figures, and high-powered legal team may have played a role in securing such a favorable deal. Verdict Vantage, thanks you for tuning in. Your support means the world to our channel. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, leave a comment sharing your thoughts, and hit the subscribe button to join our amazing community. Stay in the loop on future updates by ringing the notification bell. And if you found this valuable, sharing is caring. Thanks again for being here. This leads us to over a decade later, Epstein's 2019 arrest and subsequent events. Epstein's arrest in 2019 reignited public outrage and scrutiny over the previous plea deal. The public was reminded of the leniency given to a man accused of such serious crimes and began to demand accountability. Just as before, the involvement of such high-profile individuals in Epstein's life raised questions about their potential knowledge and/or involvement in his illegal activities. Epstein's social circle was known to include prominent figures, including politicians, business magnates, and celebrities. In August 2019, while awaiting trial in a Manhattan jail, it was widely reported that Epstein died by apparent suicide. His death led to intense speculation, conspiracy theories, and investigations into the surrounding circumstances, given the high-profile nature of the case and the potential implications for those linked to him. Epstein's case continues to be a subject of investigation, debate, and scrutiny, both regarding the allegations against him and the potential involvement of others in his activities. Published June 1, 2023, APnews.com reports the following. 2 weeks before ending his life, Jeffrey Epstein sat in the corner of his Manhattan jail cell with his hands over his ears, desperate to muffle the sound of a toilet that wouldn't stop running. Epstein was agitated and unable to sleep, jail officials observed in records newly obtained by the Associated Press. He called himself a coward and complained he was struggling to adapt to life behind bars following his July 2019 arrest on federal sex trafficking and conspiracy charges, his life of luxury reduced to a concrete and steel cage. The disgraced financier was under psychological observation at the time for a suicide attempt just days earlier that left his neck bruised and scraped. Yet, even after a 31-hour stint on suicide watch, Epstein insisted he wasn't suicidal, telling a jail psychologist he had a wonderful life and would be crazy to end it. The article goes on to report, nearly 4 years later, the AP has obtained more than 4,000 pages of documents related to Epstein's death from the Federal Bureau of Prisons under the Freedom of Information Act. They include a detailed psychological reconstruction of the events leading to Epstein's suicide, as well as his health history, internal agency reports, emails, memos, and other records. Taken together, the documents the AP obtained Thursday provide the most complete accounting to date of Epstein's detention and death, and its chaotic aftermath. The records help to dispel the many conspiracy theories surrounding Epstein's suicide, underscoring how fundamental failings at the Bureau of Prisons, including severe staffing shortages and employees cutting corners, contributed to Epstein's death. They shed new light on the federal prison agency's muddled response after Epstein was found unresponsive in his cell at the now-shuttered Metropolitan Correctional Center in New York City. The documents also provide a fresh window into Epstein's behavior during his 36 days in jail, including his previously unreported attempt to connect by mail with another high-profile pedophile, Larry Nassar, the U.S. gymnastics team doctor convicted of sexually abusing scores of athletes. Epstein's letter to Nassar was found returned to sender in the jail's mailroom weeks after Epstein's death. It appeared he mailed it out and it was returned back to him, the investigator who found the letter told a prison official by email. "I am not sure if I should open it or should we hand it over to anyone?" Further, and most importantly, the report continues, the night before Epstein's death, he excused himself from a meeting with his lawyers to make a telephone call to his family. According to a memo from a unit manager, Epstein told a jail employee that he was calling his mother, who'd been dead for 15 years at that point. Epstein's death put increased scrutiny on the Bureau of Prisons and led the agency to close the Metropolitan Correctional Center in 2021. It spurred an AP investigation that has uncovered deep, previously unreported problems within the agency, the Justice Department's largest with more than 30,000 employees, 158,000 inmates, and an $8 billion annual budget. An internal memo, undated but sent after Epstein's death, attributed problems at the jail to seriously reduced staffing levels, improper or lack of training, and follow-up and oversight. The memo also detailed steps the Bureau of Prisons has taken to remedy lapses Epstein's suicide exposed, including requiring supervisors to review surveillance video to ensure officers made required cell checks. Epstein's lawyer, Martin Weinberg, said people detained at the facility endured medieval conditions of confinement that no American defendant should have been subjected to. In closing, the article reads, the workers tasked with guarding Epstein the night he killed himself, Tova Noel and Michael Thomas, were charged with lying on prison records to make it seem as though they had made their required checks before Epstein was found lifeless. Epstein's cellmate did not return after a court hearing the day before, and prison officials failed to pair another prisoner with him, leaving him alone. Prosecutors alleged they were sitting at their desks just 15 feet, 4.6 meters, from Epstein's cell, shopped online for furniture and motorcycles, and walked around the unit's common area instead of making required rounds every 30 minutes. During one 2-hour period, both appeared to have been asleep, according to their indictment. Noel and Thomas admitted to falsifying the log entries, but avoided prison time under a deal with federal prosecutors. Copies of some of those logs were included among the documents released Thursday, with the guards' signatures redacted. Another investigation, by the Justice Department's Inspector General, is still ongoing. After Jeffrey Epstein's death, investigations into his alleged criminal activities didn't end, instead, they intensified. Various law enforcement agencies, including the FBI, continued investigating Epstein's case posthumously. They aimed to uncover the extent of his illegal activities, identify potential co-conspirators, and bring them to justice. Investigations extended beyond direct criminal activities to financial records, aiming to trace Epstein's wealth sources, transactions, and any financial ties to his associates. Law enforcement agencies sought to interview and gather testimonies from Epstein's victims to build cases against possible co-conspirators and shed light on the network involved in his activities. Individuals associated with Epstein continue to face increased public scrutiny. The connections of high-profile figures, including politicians, business leaders, academics, and celebrities, have been examined more closely, leading to reputational damage and intense media attention. Some associates have faced, and could continue to face legal repercussions or professional fallout due to their connections with Epstein. This ranged from being called to testify or provide information in ongoing investigations to facing social and professional consequences for their associations. Epstein's international connections expanded the scope of investigations, crossing international borders, implicating individuals from various countries, and prompting cooperation among law enforcement agencies worldwide. Epstein's connections with figures from different countries raised diplomatic concerns and potential diplomatic fallout as the investigations delved into international ties and implications. The aftermath of Epstein's death has triggered a cascade of inquiries that extend beyond his own actions, focusing on potential accomplices, enablers, and beneficiaries of his alleged criminal network. Epstein's case has prompted discussions about reforming plea deals and sentencing guidelines, aiming to prevent similar leniency in cases involving powerful individuals accused of serious crimes. The outcry over Epstein's case fueled movements advocating for stronger protections for victims of sexual abuse and trafficking, emphasizing the importance of empowering survivors and ensuring their voices are heard in legal proceedings. Jeffrey Epstein's case heightened public awareness of the complexities of wealth, power, and abuse. It led to increased scrutiny of individuals in influential positions and raised skepticism about the ethics of their associations. Ongoing discussions and media coverage around the case have created a platform for conversations about systemic issues, including the abuse of power, social inequality, and the need for accountability in high-profile circles. Individuals connected to Epstein have experienced and continue to experience reputational damage, influencing their public standing, careers, and relationships with institutions and communities. Epstein's case exposed institutional failures, prompting organizations to reassess policies regarding donations, associations with controversial figures, and protocols for handling abuse allegations. Even after Epstein's death, investigations into his associates has continued, signaling a continued effort to hold accountable those potentially involved in his illicit activities. The international scope of Epstein's connections and alleged activities raised diplomatic concerns, triggering inquiries and discussions about international cooperation in addressing cross-border crimes. Epstein's case underscored the need for greater transparency in legal proceedings involving influential individuals, fostering calls for more transparent investigations and legal processes. Jeffrey Epstein's legacy is marked by controversies that continue to resonate across legal, social, and institutional landscapes, provoking ongoing conversations, reforms, and calls for accountability in addressing issues of abuse, privilege, and justice. Verdict Vantage, thanks you for tuning in. Your support means the world to our channel. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, leave a comment sharing your thoughts, and hit the subscribe button to join our amazing community. Stay in the loop on future updates by ringing the notification bell. And if you found this valuable, sharing is caring. Thanks again for being here.